If you're a web designer and you want to do some marketing, what you have to do is get your marketing message right. You know, selling websites is pretty tough. There's a lot of competition, and people see it as a commodity now. It's not really something that they feel like is going to revolutionize their business, but is something they need, right? So they don't want to pay a lot of money for it, but they know they have to have one. But what I want you to do is to lift their expectation where they see, wait a minute, this website is worth a lot of money to me because the value that it provides, and they're willing to pay more. But to get them thinking like that, you have to get your marketing message right. So let me show you how, if you can get the message right and how to get the message right so you can get more leads and charge more for every website that you build. Now, there's three things you need to understand before you write any message, before you write a Facebook ad or put together a brochure or update your website or do a social media post or write a Google ad. If you don't get these three things right, the campaign is not going to work. Okay, I've run enough Facebook ads now to know that if I don't get these three things right, it doesn't matter how much money I put behind the ad, it doesn't matter how good the creative is, it's not going to work. So what are the three things? Well, the first thing is you need to understand who your prospect is. You need to know explicitly exactly who it is, because you've got to give the right message to the right person at the right time. And when you can understand your prospect and describe them, that becomes the person that you will target. So what that gives you is someone you can target on social media or the Google search engine or LinkedIn or through Facebook ads. Once you know that person, the next step is super important. And what you have to do is really understand their problem. And you need to make sure they actually have a problem. And then when you identify the problem, you need to understand it better than they can. There's a great saying by psychologist White Woodsmill. He says, if you can articulate someone's problem better than they can, they'll automatically and unconsciously credit you with having the solution. Let me paraphrase that. If you can go up to a prospect, this prospect here, you know this one here? And you can, in an ad, describe their problem better than they can in a Facebook ad. When they read that description of you describing their problem and they know it, and now they know you know it, they'll automatically and unconsciously credit you with having the solution. It's kind of what we do with doctors, isn't it? You know, you go to a doctor and the doctor asks you a whole bunch of questions, and because of the questions he asks, you give him the answers, and you go, this guy must know what they're talking about because they're asking the right questions. It's the same effect here. And when you understand their problem, what that gives you is a hook. It's a hook to get their attention because you're articulating the problem. Now, if you don't know your prospect, you won't know what the pain is of the prospect, because pain is never general through the population. It's always very specific to a certain type of person. And when you understand the person, you understand the problem, you then have a hook to get their attention, like White Woodsmill said. And the final thing you need a promise. And the key with this promise is the promise has to be linked to the problem, okay? It has to be very closely tied to the problem. If your promise is here and their pain point is here, there's a misalignment and they're not going to go ahead with you. But if their pain's here and your promise is right here that covers it and they can see that they're aligned, that is how you win a client. And when you have a promise, what you're doing is showing them how you can help them solve the problem. Okay? Now, every piece of marketing message, and even this is how you create copy on a website for your clients, every single page, every single ad, every single video you create should know when someone reads that ad, reads the blog post, watches the video, they should know instantly, who is this for? Like whenever I opened up this video and I said, if you're a web designer and you're about to do some marketing, well, who's the person? Web designer. I call them out at the beginning of the video. The problem, you can see that I went straight into a problem. What is the problem that you have? You're about to do marketing and you want to do it right. And then what's the solution? I'm teaching you a solution now. And so you'll do the same thing with your website. You'll identify a client, you'll highlight their problem in your advertising, and then at some point you'll show them the solution that you have that can actually solve their problem. And so this here is gold. Do you know, I can tell you now, I don't know how many businesses I've helped, and the first thing we do, whether it's a website, whether it's a Facebook ad, whether it's an SEO campaign, whether it's a brochure, whether it's, you name it, any type of material for marketing, we start with this. First question is, who is your prospect? What is their problem? What is their pain point? And how can you solve that pain point? I don't care about anything else. I don't care about your features. I don't care about you as a business. I don't care how many years you've been running. I don't care if you're reputable or not. I don't care any of that because the client doesn't care. All the client wants to know is, can you help me with my problem? Show me the solution. And if you can do that in all your marketing, you will be able to win websites and have a flow of incoming clients every single week and every single month. So I hope that helps. Now, if you are a web designer and you are listening to me now and you're thinking, Marlon, I either didn't know that, or I don't know how to do that, or wow, I'd like to be able to do that, I want to encourage you to book in a 15-minute scale session with me. And this scale session is basically a call where we'll get on a call together and we'll identify the top 3 things holding you back from growing your business. So it might be this, it might be something else. There's actually 9 core projects I work with a web designer to grow their business. It's the 9 things I use to grow my business. And in that call, we're going to identify that. What are the roadblocks and what are the 3 things you can do in the next 90 days? Now, some of you would say, Marlon, why are you doing this? You're trying to sell me something. Well, a little bit of yes and a little bit of no. I know that a small percentage of you after that call will say, Marlon, how can you help? And I'll book another call to talk about that, how I can help. But this call is about you. I know most people will take that plan and try and do it themselves, and I'm happy to help. And so I want to help, but also I know some of you will want to work with me further. So that's why I do it for free. It's not a sales call. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I will not sell you anything on that call. But what I do want to do is get you to understand this stuff, because this is what can grow your business. It's what's grown my business. It's what continues to grow my business. I have a business called The Sales Driven Website. I build websites every single day, and I use this tactic every single conversation I have with a new client and for my campaign. So book the scale session, click the button around this, wherever it is. I don't know where it is, but I put this all over the internet. So there's a link or something around, click it, booking your call. I look forward to speaking to you soon.